What's up YouTube, it's TN back with another video today. Today's video is going to be about the tech industry not being in shambles. And what I mean by that is I don't think it's that bad right now, and I'm going to share with y'all the reasons why I don't think it's that bad. First of all, I think it's not impossible to find a job right now. Second of all, I think soft skills are more important than ever, and I think that's getting lost throughout the past few years because of remote work. Getting amplified, and also our return to office is not as bad as it sounds either. I think everyone thinks it's like a industry killer, but I don't think it's as bad as it sounds. And also, I'm gonna talk a little bit about why boot camps still work. I know a lot of people out there might not think it's worthy to join a boot camp or go through boot camp and make it worthwhile, and that it works. I actually do think it still works, but there's some caveats to the boot camp nowadays compared to previously before. But I'm gonna talk a little bit about that later in the video as well. So let's get to the first portion of the video. It's gonna be about jobs. I want to talk about how it's not impossible to find a job right now. I know a lot of people out there, especially within the junior software engineer market, are struggling to find a job just because it's so saturated and so competitive. And with all the mass layoffs, people can argue that why would I hire some new grad when I can hire some great fine talent from one of the tech giants? And I think that's all bias, and I think that's all BS, and I think that's just what is an excuse people tell themselves rather than just putting their foot forward and your head down and just getting straight to work and applying for these jobs. I think many people are still hiring. Both the companies I'm at right now are hiring fairly rapidly, one more than the other. But we are still hiring, and I'm seeing all my friends' companies all have job listings that are hiring and interviewing. I've gotten a couple interviews, at least once every week. People are definitely interviewing and definitely hiring. I think people are just struggling with getting the interview because of their resume, not being able to get past the portal, the job portal, and not even getting looked at, for that matter, by human eyes. You know what I mean? And so, I'm seeing it more niche now when it comes to job listings that I'm getting interviews for, or even people getting jobs for. I think for the companies I'm working at currently, I think one thing is AI has been such a huge trend within the tech industry. I mean, especially with the whole ChatGPT movement and everything like that. For example, one of my buddies got a job at Microsoft in the AI department not even like 2 weeks ago. So there's definitely a lot of hiring going on. And then the other company one of the companies I'm working at, we're an AI company for the I'm not even gonna say a sector because there's not that many in the sector, but I definitely am working for an AI company, and we've hired this year alone, we've hired damn near 50 plus engineers, ranging from mid to senior level. And that's something that I want to mention too, as I mentioned in past video, I believe, is that don't be just going for those junior level roles, man. Go for those mid-level roles. I think the day-to-day is fairly similar. So AI is definitely the move right now, and trends tend to change. So just make sure you're always following with the latest trends in the industry. When looking for a job, I think it's more important nowadays to look at the product than the actual companies. So if AI is what's buzzing right now and what's trending and what's hiring, then definitely look for jobs that are catered towards AI or even AI companies. I think another thing I want to touch base on as well is total compensation and my opinion on how it is right now during with how the market is right now. I actually think total compensation TC is still very relevant, very much there. I will say that it is still very high and it's continuing to increase, but the ceiling for total compensation has definitely come down from the crazier times before pre-COVID. But what I will say is that the floor has definitely increased as well, and that's what I mean. That's what I mean when I say TC is definitely increasing. I think the mean salary for software engineers have increased over the years, and is currently at a high in terms of the mean. But the ceiling has definitely come down. No longer are the days where you're getting the 500, 600, 700, even 800K. I mean, I remember seeing crazy salaries ranging all the way up to like 1.2 mil at like Facebook before it was Meta. That was insane times, right? And I'm not saying all those crazy prices, crazy salaries, crazy TCs are all gone. Me myself, earlier this year, one of my jobs that I'm working currently, my TC was damn near 500K for a single L4 senior software engineer role. And so the TC is definitely there on the ceiling side, but it's definitely come down a bit. But again, that had a lot of variables that went into it. My own, me myself, I think I might be a little bit an outlier. I know how to negotiate. I've been through many negotiation phases and rounds, and I used to be a technical recruiter, so I can definitely talk that talk. I don't think that's very common amongst a lot of people, but that's not to say that you can't learn how to do that. So definitely keep that in mind when you're, getting these offers and if it's lower than you expect. But talking about the floor as well, the floor is definitely higher than before. I think across the board, everyone that's getting offers, even in the mid-level, junior level, it's all six figures. It's still all six figures. I remember years ago when there was that 1.2 mil crazy salary that I saw, at the same time period, I was seeing, junior engineers getting offered 70K, 60K, and doing day-to-day, just engineering job duties. And so, the floor has definitely increased as well. You're seeing no less than 100K, and if you are seeing anything under 100K, that's definitely an outlier as well. And so the mean average has definitely gone up, in my opinion. Let's go into a little bit about the soft skills that I mentioned earlier, and why it's so prevalent nowadays. With the increase in remote work from COVID and quarantine, soft skills are more important than ever right now. I think the practice by interviewing and not just studying is more prevalent than ever now as well, just because, these days, even with the whole return to office, this is definitely something that is hard to learn or even understand, because at least when you're in an office environment surrounded by others, body language is like 70% of the delivery. When you remove that from communication and you're talking in front of a camera, there's just a lot going on. There's the opportunity for you to easily just turn off the camera with no excuse. And, people that are traditionally used to, being in front of people is not used to just like, imagine like people just walk away from your conversation mid-convo. It's a different environment, right? And I think that has definitely altered how we communicate. Not to say that we don't know how to communicate anymore. I'm just saying it's very important to work on your soft skills now more than ever. And I talked about this in my last video. It's definitely best to just practice by interviewing. Studying is important, but interviewing is so much more important because it's a stepping stone towards getting that job offer, getting that job. And again, this doesn't defer the hard technical skills, but the value for soft skills have definitely increased significantly. So don't undermine that when you're working on getting a job and you're going after it. And I wanted to touch base on boot camps a little bit here as well, just because, I got to pay homage to my roots. I was definitely self-taught to get into one of the top boot camps, and then going through the boot camps, that landed me a senior software engineer role right off the bat. So boot camps are definitely the move still, in my opinion, and I'm definitely going to do a more detailed video in the future about boot camps in general. But I wanted to mention this because it is a huge portion of the job market when it comes to the supply of candidates and resources and talent that is in the pool for junior or even mid or even senior level roles, software engineers. We're definitely not getting no staff or principal engineers fresh out of college or fresh out of a boot camp. I'll tell you that much. But senior, it's very possible. Very possible. I made it. I did it myself, and I know so many people that have also done it as well. And it really is coming from just pure confidence. And again, I'll talk about it in a different video. But as far as how it is in the current tech industry or tech market right now, I think it's still worth it to do a boot camp. If you do on site, I think the whole problem with boot camps as well, and the bash that they're getting, is alongside the whole pandemic. I mean, after quarantine happened, boot camps had to, figure out how to stay alive and not go belly up, and they had to, adjust with the times, and they started offering, remote virtual boot camps. And these were like top tier boot camps. Even the one I went to started offering remote and virtual, even though they were preaching to show up, and the only way to do and complete the boot camp is to show up and to be there. And these were just in major cities, metropolitan cities, thinking LA, SF, and New York City. And that's how I ended up in NYC myself. That's not the case after COVID. A lot more boot camps became remote, became virtual, and I'm hearing stories about, students that are in the boot camp that are just, dropping halfway through the day. Or because I remember, like, man, when I went to the boot camp, there were every person I saw cry at least once throughout the boot camp. It wasn't an easy feat. You got to remember, this is like 13 weeks, 6 days a week, 7 days even if you're really about it. Show up on Sundays, and it's 12 plus hours a day, or stay after most of the time, just because you're trying to figure things out, trying to work on yourself and being able to get a job. And again, this is to say that a lot of it can be learned online, but I think one thing you can't learn online is the boost in confidence that you get knowing that you are surrounded by other peers physically. There's people like living at the boot camps, like they move in with the suitcase, sleeping at the boot camp. You're not gonna see that online. Matter of fact, you're gonna see the complete opposite. You're gonna see a bunch of people just log off, because it's so easy to log off. It's not easy to just walk out of the campus, walk out of the school midday. Like, you can go to the bathroom, you can cry a bit, you can lay down on the couch real quick. But when you see everyone working, you're gonna want to work. And that's the problem with the boot camp right now, is with all the virtual and remote boot camps, that amplifies imposter syndrome. Because best believe imposter syndrome is real and is very prevalent, and it happens in every single one of us, even the ones that didn't go to boot camp, that just joined a company and work. The imposter syndrome happens to everyone. That comes with the name of the game for tech, just because tech is growing, progressing every single day exponentially. It is what it is. I think you come into terms with it as long as you understand it. And I think that's something that I had to, understand myself personally. And again, it's the confidence that lands you the jobs, accompanied with the skill set. So it's not the other way around. It's not the skill set that gets you the job. It's the confidence, right? You can be the smartest. You can know every single technology. You can know every single language. You can know every single leak code, every single algorithm, and you can still not land a job because you don't have the confidence, you don't believe in yourself, you don't have the soft skills, you don't want to talk. And so it's not the other way around. Don't get it mistaken. In conclusion, total compensation is still there. There's still a bunch of jobs around, and all the jobs are in, products that are trending, for example, AI, and soft skills are more important than ever. And return to office is not as bad as it sounds. So another little key thing about that real quick is that you don't have to return to office. I think a key factor to that is looking for jobs outside of your, physical residence. If you're in New York, look for jobs in San Francisco, Austin, Texas, or LA, or the other booming tech capitals that are hiring, or even just smaller states if you're looking for more junior roles. A lot of companies are hiring remote if they have to, and they might mandate return to office, but you can't return to office if you're thousands of miles away. I think that's a crucial part to mention as well. Boot camps are still a move. If you're doing it on site, I definitely recommend still doing so. Also, follow the trends. That's the most important part. I think this is like what I want to summarize all this to, is that you definitely want to follow the trends, understand the trends, and honestly, that's what tech's about. Tech is technology, and technology is always about growing, progressing, and that's the beauty behind it, and that's why I'm passionate about it. So don't give up, y'all. Keep going, keep pushing, get that job, get that money, get that knowledge up, and I'm gonna catch y'all next time. Peace.